Description she does of the Portland hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated. We all know, the first interview we all know that she never intended to go to the Portland hospital. She intended to have the baby at home. We know that they deceived the public about the birth data and time of the whole event. Oh, absolutely, I think the timing was on purpose too, because the Dior deal, which we'll talk about in a minute, that was gossip around.
Prince Harry in turmoil as Meghan's moves spark speculation over Archie and Lilibet.
You know, even it goes down to the lawyer saying that in that statement, when they have that long attack on the Mail, which is astonishing.
Tom Bower, the man famous for uncovering royal scandals, has just dropped a revelation shaking everyone. He claims Archie and Lilibet's origins aren't what the world believes. Now, whispers of surrogacy, concealed truths, and doubts about their biological roots are spreading like wildfire, and Harry's picture-perfect family image is crumbling fast.
That she says that she didn't cooperate with Omid Scobie, and she said that she didn't consult anyone when writing the letter to her father. That was in a sworn written...
Harry and Meghan believed Netflix was their golden ticket to freedom, fame, and fortune. But now, that Hollywood deal is starting to look more like a trap pulling them down. With Bower's shocking claims about Archie and Lilibet, their multi-million-dollar projects have become a spotlight exposing their private lives. Suddenly, every photo, every timeline, every polished Instagram post is under the harshest scrutiny, and social media is eating it up.
And the grifters, and that is because they're scroungers, the Sussexes. And I heard this particular story, which is extraordinary, which is that Harry and Meghan were invited to this sun-kissed place by the beach. And
meanwhile, Meghan is calm as ever, strategizing, drafting legal threats, and keeping her icy composure while Harry unravels. Critics call it the classic Sussex pattern: Harry in panic mode, Meghan pulling the strings. And let's face it, the drama is pure gold for headlines.
They had arrived with the host's private jet, as usual, and wanted to leave, and then they heard that someone else who was there...
This isn't just about money, fame, or Hollywood glitz. It's about credibility, legacy, and the power of public perception. Netflix may have paid them millions, but it also gave the world a magnifying glass. Now, nothing stays private. The Sussex fairy tale is unraveling into chaos and spectacle, and with every revelation, Harry seems to spiral further into panic.
Says Meghan didn't lie. Well, extraordinary how the whole thing is unraveling.
And yet they don't produce any evidence.
Brace yourself, because this one is explosive. Tom Bower's revelations have reignited the surrogacy rumors around Archie and Lilibet, and the gossip is spreading faster than wildfire. Insiders point to strange gaps in birth records, suspicious photos, and Meghan's perfectly timed baby bump appearances that just don't add up. Fans are dissecting timelines, asking, wait, was she ever really pregnant here? And suddenly, everything is under doubt.
Beautiful house by a beach. And Meghan went up to her and said, is there any, let us talk, let us become friends. The following day after they were taken back home.
If Meghan did use a surrogate, why keep it secret? And poor Harry, was he fully aware or completely blindsided? Either way, the story paints him as foolish, weak, or complicit. The once proud soldier prince is now said to be pacing Montecito, muttering to himself, wondering how his fairy tale became a public nightmare. Meanwhile, Meghan remains unbothered, cool, calculated, and composed, while Harry scrambles. Classic Sussex power dynamic, isn't it?
It's always they. They never name them, except they did name Jason Knauf, the man who in the end...
Social media is on fire. Every Instagram post, every carefully staged smile, every public statement pulled apart frame by frame. What was once brushed off as tabloid nonsense, the surrogacy rumors are now trending as disturbingly plausible. The public, critics, even royal insiders are calling for answers. Demands for DNA tests grow louder by the day, and with every moment Harry and Meghan stay silent, the speculation only explodes further.
The host private jet, Harry called this particular woman and said, is there a chance that we could borrow your house? Meghan wonders whether we could have it.
At this stage, it's less about truth and more about control. Meghan may be pulling the strings, but Harry looks like a man trapped in a storm he can't escape, and the world, watching, commenting, and savoring every second of the chaos. The royal fairy tale has turned messy, and the panicked prince is now center stage.
Meghan's lies, and of course they're furious with him. So the whole series ends with that statement on the screen which says, Knauf is the liar, not us. And that is
The drama is real. As Tom Bowers' claims about Archie and Lilibet spread, the public is in a frenzy, and the royal family's silence is deafening. The palace's refusal to address it only fuels the fire. Unlike George, Charlotte, and Louis, who are regularly in the spotlight, Archie and Lilibet remain almost invisible. Critics are asking, is this just coincidence, or has the palace been quietly questioning their place in the line of succession all along?
day Harry calls and says, Meghan also says, can we get there in your private jet?
Oh my.
Royal insiders say the distance isn't just about optics, it's strategy. By keeping their silence, the palace shields itself from the fallout while leaving the Sussexes to weather the storm alone. Meanwhile, the public can't look away, dissecting every photo, every word, every social post. Harry's spiraling panic, paired with Meghan's icy composure, has created the ultimate drama cocktail, and the world can't stop sipping.
Netflix have a lot to answer for. If an established broadcaster in Britain or America produced that sort of succession, 6 hours of lies, they would be absolutely hounded out.
No balance.
The children once seen as untouchable symbols of the Sussex fairy tale are now at the very heart of speculation. Archie and Lilibet, meant to be the couple's shield, have instead become the headline story themselves.
The criteria, it is just propaganda. You know, Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propagandist, would look with real...
Tom Bowers' claims about Archie and Lilibet have reportedly sent Harry into full-blown panic mode. Insiders say he's pacing through Montecito, ranting at staff, glued to the headlines, and muttering about the chaos engulfing his family. The once composed prince now looks like a man who's completely lost the plot.
Of the UK. What they've done very cleverly is they use their friends, their lawyer, academics who have always backed their side of the argument to seem to give...
Friends and former aides say Harry's mental state has been unraveling for months, but this scandal cuts deeper than ever. Fatherhood was always his shield, the role that defined him. Now, whispers of surrogacy, secrecy, and doubts about his children's origins strike at the very core of that identity.
Balanced documentary, but in fact, all of those people are stooges. They are plants for Harry and Meghan. I mean, this friend, Lucy Fraser, I think her name is, she's some sort of PR.
And here's where it gets messy. Meghan, by contrast, stays calm and calculating, plotting legal defenses, and keeping her public image flawless. Critics say this only makes Harry's panic stand out more. He's unraveling in Montecito, while she quietly plays the long game. Classic Sussex dynamic, the frantic prince and the icy duchess.
Right, that there were internals, as she calls them, at the palace who had decided that Harry and Meghan had become too popular, so they had to bring them down. Who has told Lucy that? Harry and Meghan.
The prince who once championed mental health now seems powerless against his own crisis, leaving the world watching in equal parts shock and fascination. For Harry, this is more than a media storm. It's a personal nightmare, one that could redefine him forever, as a father, a royal, and a public figure.
But you know, what's really extraordinary as well is that normally in making documentaries, which I did for more than 20 years at the BBC, you film someone, that's it.
Meghan built her brand on demanding truth from the royals, yet she may be hiding the biggest truth of all. Observers point to the odd handling of Archie's birth announcement, vague details around Lilibet, and those perfectly timed social media posts. Every move seems calculated to keep her in control, while Harry absorbs the emotional fallout.
Doria always has that little pause, a little tear. Have you noticed how Meghan cries, but there's never a tear?
Among the most explosive claims sparked by Tom Bowers' revelations are whispers that third-party donors or surrogates may have been involved in Archie and Lilibet's conception. Suddenly, the Sussex fairy tale feels less like a romance and more like a royal mystery thriller.
Balance is that she can cry on cue out of her left eye.
And you know, the whole construction of her father, that man who in the end was abandoned by Meghan for months before the wedding, totally left to his own devices, isolated, really...
If these rumors hold any truth, the fallout goes far beyond Harry and Meghan. It could rattle the very foundation of their children's place in the royal line. Fans are combing through every photo, dissecting baby bumps, and debating timelines like detectives. Social media is ablaze, and what started as whispers has erupted into full-blown headlines.
Actually say he was the reason why the whole thing exploded, why they had to leave in Britain. And then, of course, Harry's saying, of course, Meghan's got no father. And now he doesn't have a father. They really are.
It's despicable.
And then there's the money, because the Sussex story is never complete without it. Insiders suggest financial gain may be the driving force behind much of Meghan's strategy. Bowers' revelations land at a moment when their Netflix contracts, book deals, and other ventures are already under scrutiny, making every move look calculated, deliberate, and self-serving.
You go and you speak to the Markles, you get to understand them. But actually, you can look at Meghan's own public statements. I mean, she stood up at the United...
Ironically, the empire they built to escape royal scrutiny is now fueling it. Every deal, every dollar, every polished Instagram post sits under a microscope. For Harry, it's another crushing layer of panic on top of an already public crisis. The fairy tale may look glossy on screen, but behind the cameras, it's chaos, stress, and non-stop drama.
Before meeting Harry, and she praised Thomas Markle. She said he was a great father who instilled the values in her that allowed her to challenge.
Tom Bowers' revelations have pushed Harry and Meghan into uncharted waters, sparking questions far bigger than tabloid chatter. Whispers of surrogacy and outside donors aren't just scandal, they cut to the very core of royal lineage. Archie and Lilibet, once symbols of a modern Sussex fairy tale, are now at the center of speculation that could shape their place in royal history.
Where the Sussex is up to all this year. And we've said many times over the past few weeks, Dan, that Meghan's silence is really odd. She's building up to something big. And there's no doubt that in LA over the last few weeks, there's been this gossip about the Dior.
If there's any truth to the rumors, it's not just Harry's reputation at stake, it's the royal line of succession itself. The children, once untouchable in the public eye, are now clouded in controversy, leaving the palace walking a delicate tightrope. Observers point to the noticeable distance between the Sussex children and senior royals, suggesting it may be no coincidence. Could the palace already harbor doubts? Maybe, and social media isn't letting the world forget it.
Really interesting, of course, Bill Simmons, not coincidentally saying they're grifters, but what's really interesting in the rebranding of the Sussexes is, what I also heard very recently is,
for Harry, the blow is devastating. Fatherhood was the cornerstone of his identity, the one role that set him apart from the endless palace drama. But now, whispers of surrogacy, hidden truths, and possible outside donors threaten to shatter that foundation completely. Insiders say he's consumed by paranoia and panic, desperate to control a narrative that simply won't bend.
They've been Harry's passion. And Meghan went to the extent of suggesting that they should drop the name Windsor and take the surname Spencer. So she'd be Meghan Spencer, the new Diana.
Meanwhile, Meghan stays strategic, allowing the gossip to swirl while keeping her legal and public positioning airtight. The contrast is striking. Harry, emotional and unraveling, Meghan, calculated and composed. The fairy tale image is collapsing and the stakes have never been higher. If these rumors take hold, the Sussex legacy and the children's place in royal history could be permanently altered.
But the point is, she credited her father, and now she's sort of trying to say, oh yeah, he was a good dad, but I actually felt really lonely as a kid.
But I think what is also so terrible is that Harry never went to see the father.
Oh.
And why not? Because Meghan was ashamed of him.
Tom Bowers' explosive claims have thrown Harry and Meghan into the brightest spotlight yet, and the world is watching with popcorn in hand. The media is buzzing, hashtags are trending, and everyone has an opinion. Should the Sussexes finally agree to DNA tests to silence the rumors once and for all, or stay quiet and let the speculation keep growing?
That is exactly what the grift is all about. It's about scrounging. It's about Harry and Meghan constantly looking for freebies, whether it's jets, it's houses, meals, whatever.
Fans are split. Some demand a DNA test to end the speculation, while others argue it would only turn a private matter into a public circus. The palace, as always, stays silent, leaving the public to fill the gaps with theories, debates, and endless memes. And with every day Harry and Meghan refuse to speak, the whispers grow louder, and the scandal embeds itself deeper into the royal story.
Presumably Spotify were paying a lot of money for all of their staff, for all of their demands, but they weren't actually receiving the content in return.
And not only not receiving the content, but constantly demands.
The stakes have never been higher. The fairy tale the Sussexes once sold a modern, liberated royal family is now under fire from every angle. The choices Harry and Meghan make in the coming weeks could define their legacy, their children's place in royal history, and how the world remembers the Sussex saga. Royal secrets, surrogacy whispers, and a prince in panic, this is the Sussex story at its messiest. And one thing is certain, the storm is far from over, and the public isn't going anywhere.